Welcome to Designing Emergence, computational simulation as a mode of collaborative making in museum space. In this presentation, we will review theoretical developments on the language of new media and share a case study on computational simulation as collaborative making in the interdisciplinary space. My name is Zhen. I'm an educator, researcher, mathematician, and technologist based in Brooklyn, New York. I'm a candidate for doctoral of education at Teachers College, Columbia University. My partner is Yang Wang. He is a computational media artist, designer, and software developer based in Brooklyn, New York. He works as a creative technologist at the architecture firm Rockwell Group. We initially met at the Interactive Telecommunication program at Tisch School of Art, New York University. We have since been collaborating on projects focusing on software as expression and critical examination. We're technology residence artists at Pioneer Works, Center for Art and Innovation. We're also a member of New Inc., the culture and technology incubator led by New Museum. Today's traditional learning environments, such as school and universities, are still largely organized as separate subject areas. However, learners are increasingly seeking modes of learning that are holistic, experiential, and complex. For example, art students are seeking knowledge beyond how to create a single object of art and instead are learning to build systems and communities, while technology students are actively looking for culture engagements beyond making tools. Museums, which curate a diverse range of cultural programmings and welcomes general audiences from a wide personal background, are in a unique place to provide unified multidisciplinary practices that are jointly shaped by artists, technologists, and general art audiences alike. Software is a procedural, executable, and systematic language. It can enable a diverse range of experiences that are interactive, engaging, expressive, and critical. Software language is becoming increasingly complex, with its presence withdrawn into the background and its effect omnipotent. How could we imagine an alternative software system, one that allows users to challenge its boundary beyond the original intention of the designer-developers? How could we reimagine digital interactive media as a multidisciplinary practice, one that embraces computation as relations, poetics, and emergent systems? An emergent system or emergent property can appear when a number of simple entities or agents operate in an environment, forming more complex behavior as a collective. System can reach a level of complexity where a complexity barrier is crossed. The systems that cross this barrier are complex systems and exhibit special behaviors. In a digital environment, game designers and developers design the rules of the game, but influence the player's experience only indirectly. For example, many gamers install plugins to hack the game and achieve superpowers beyond the premise of the game. Systems that are emergent generate unpredictable patterns of complexity from a limited set of rules. In an emergent system, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. For example, on this screen, we see that the limited set of the rules of flying birds cannot account for all the possible structures that might be seen in a flock of birds in the sky. There is an intimate relationship between the research of emergence and cross-disciplinary collaboration. Post-World War II, parallel to the development of modern communication technology and its adaptation into mass culture, is the less known but conceptually significant modern art and technological experiments championed by artist and technologist collaboration called the happenings. It openly embraces transience, chance, failure, noise as the opportunity for change. An example of such a collaboration is Homage to New York. Artist Sean Tingley and technologist Billy Clover made a machine from discarded mechanical parts, which operated meticulously for 27 minutes before setting itself on fire. The emergence of intelligent machines created a vast opening to produce new modes of expression. In 2001, new media theorist Lev Manovic published The Language of New Media. This book provided 5 principles for new media language: numerical representation, modularity, automation, variability, and transcoding. Manovic refers to this process as the automation of aesthetics. Combined with numerical representation, modularity renders a media programmable, meaning that new media objects are digital elements related to each other through rules governed by a software system, making them subject to dynamic algorithmic manipulation. This kind of rule-based thinking allows the computer a certain degree of freedom to improvise based on the primary art maker's intention and produce outcomes simultaneously determined by the art maker and the computer's execution. However, media theorist Alex Galloway thinks that Manovic's view responds to a humanistic desire for the world to be brought near to anonymous viewers, which has been fundamentally eroded by the invention of cybernetics in the 1940s. Borrowing Plato's metaphor of the ring of Gyges, Galloway claims that cinema forces the viewer into becoming an invisible, half-participant in the world. The computer, Galloway claims, is not driven by personas, but rather profiles. To be in an informatic relationship with the world, one must erase the world, subjecting it to various forms of manipulations, preemptions, modeling, and synthetic transformation. Galloway speaks of new media as a language for worlding. Instead of observing and revealing the world, we manufacture data, create rules, make relations, and perfect the necessary conditions for simulating our own decentralized mini-worlds. The power of technological media does not lie in a single physical apparatus, but a system of possibilities. The computer instantiates a practice, not a presence, an effect, not an object. It is nothing but a set of containers and arrows pointing to previous media formats. It is not fundamentally possible to cry at computers the way we cry at movies, Galloway claims, because when we fail at video games, we simply just press a button and restart again.
So, borrowing video game as a playground to reenact this tension in a design environment, we invented a research methodology grounded in critical making. And there are 3 steps. First, a creator creates their own computational object and set it loose, and the creator loses direct access to their objects. The object takes on its own agency. And second, collectively, these objects form a system, and the system displays a level of complexity beyond individual creators' comprehension. And finally, the active making and passive observation reveals a process. Complex computational system emerges as the result of a collection of simple rules governing computational objects, individual and group behaviors in a bounded environment. So Thinking Thing is the first product we created based on this methodology. Thinking Thing is a computational system that invites audience to take part in collective work making. Thinking Thing is a simulation, but also a system and a platform. It's built with easily accessible tools and interfaces, allowing everyone to, with or without programming background, to contribute a computational object of their own. All computational objects created by audiences are integrated automatically by the software's algorithms into the simulation. The result is an ever-evolving, never-concluding, 3-dimensional system of instantiations. And here is a screen capture of Thinking Things version that was being exhibited at the Power Station of Art in Shanghai. And here's a different version of Thinking Thing that we collaborated with New Ink New Museum, New York. And here's a screenshot of the Thinking Things technical document, and hosted on the open source software platform GitHub. We architected the system so the participants from all backgrounds can be able to create their own objects and program the objects' behaviors. And the behaviors are really essential for emergent system. With the technical framework, a participant is not only supplying a static cosmetic object, but packing a bag of rules into the system with the object, and later on will help building the complexities of the whole system. Like ants in a colony, the objects in the system act together to perform in ways that single objects cannot. Because the objects are linked to each other, one change in the system creates another change, which creates another change, giving rise to patterns over the spaces of the system. And these interactions are context dependent, which means that the changes that occur are not the same every time. Instead, the exact nature of the transformation depends on what else is happening inside the system at any given moment. Coupled interactions help produce global patterns across the system, and the context-dependent interactions ensure that exact arrangement of these patterns are dynamically changing over time. For the foundation of thinking thing, the artist, the technologist, and the museum/art spaces are the three pillars. The artist conducts the teaching, inspires, and guides participants through the whole process of making. The technologist architects and the system and the accessibility tools. And finally, the museum, situated between arts and culture and technology, offers the space for cross-disciplinary collaboration and study. So between 2018 and 2020, we have been organizing a series of workshops with museums and art institutions in Europe and China using the framework of the thing. The workshop enables everyone from students, artists, designers, architects, engineers to create their own programmed creature with intelligence, and many participants without previous coding experience could reach the basic computational literacy required to construct an intelligent object after the workshop. So here are a few photos from our workshop in School of Visual Arts and the Power Station of Arts. In thinking thing format, the artist will play the role of the educator, orchestrating artistic exchange about what is a thing and without a physical body. When we talk about a thing in a physical environment, like a chair, a water bottle, etc., we naturally think about its qualities, the space it occupies, how does it look, what material is it made of. However, a thing in a computational environment can be constantly modified. For example, we make an avatar of ourselves in a video game, and then we can change its hair color, we can change its outfit, and the character will also interact with other NPC and will exhibit different behaviors under different situations. So it responds to audience input real time through a click of buttons and other situations. So when the thing exists in computational environment, it's primarily governed by a set of protocols rather than a set of formalistic qualities. How it looks or behave at a particular moment becomes trivial in comparison, tracing back to the Galloway's take on new media. As a researcher educator, it was vital for us to develop a language to show that to our audience, seeing computation as a practice rather than a state that will allow us to become the effects of computational objects on our everyday experience. So after each workshop, our participants' contribution will be compiled together and form a live simulation. In many cases, the museum where the workshop is held offers space to exhibit the final simulation, either physically or online, hosted online. The participants will see their computational objects in the world of the simulation, interacting, exhibiting behaviors programmed by them or triggered by other people's objects. In those simulations, in the simulation sessions, we often spot surprising behaviors that was not programmed deliberately, intentionally, or systematic bugs or malfunctions that triggered by a chain of users' objects' behaviors. Those transient moments of emergence really drives us to further develop our research and continue the study on the topic of emergence in the computational system. So we do have a next step as the next iteration. So we're doing the next version of thinking, which we call it contagious architecture. The project will focus on the interaction between computational agents and the emergence of the complex architecture. Will put more focus on developing the tension between individuals' creation versus the whole system's presentation. The system as a complex system that is more than a simple sum of each individual's objects. And that is our presentation. And our research is rooted in interdisciplinary collaboration. So we're always looking for all kinds of partners, exhibition partner, education partner, research partner, and publication partners. So we can develop and bring the computational system-based collaboration model to more spaces and to more audiences, to experiment more and to explore more possibilities. Thank you very much, and feel free to drop us an email, and we're glad to talk to anyone who is interested.